Okay, okay.
Maybe send me an angel. The nicest angel you have.
Welcome to the most fillery season of JoJo's. Like, legit, you could skip this entire part and miss nothing. Seriously, none of the characters show up again, nothing they do affects the plot going forward, and most of them die anyway, so who cares? But on a real note, this is my least favorite part, so I'm sorry in advance for perceived grievances. Anyway, following up from part 4, Koichi goes to Italy because apparently Diego had a son. Bro, even while being dead, the greatest hater of all time still manages to meddle into... Even while being dead, the greatest hater still manages to meddle in JoJo's bullshit. However, since Diego was piloting body while plowing some cheeks, technically the kid is also a JoJo. I'm telling you, this family tree is gonna start becoming Greek mythology levels of confusing. Anyway, Koichi got sent to Italy by... Can we not have one part without this bastard showing up and ruining my mood? Oh, that was just a cameo? Anyway, on his way to the hotel room, Koichi gets his luggage joined by a kid named Giorno Giovanna, aka Diego's son. Well, isn't that convenient? Regardless, after confirming that Giorno is not a vampire set on world domination, Koichi just sort of dips, never to be seen again. And now we follow Giorno, who somehow has even worse haircut than Josuke, as he tries to infiltrate the Italian mob in order to kill the boss and stop the production of drugs in Italy. Now, if you're wondering, I don't know, and maybe I'm mistaken, but I don't think it's clearly stated why Giorno specifically cares so much about cocaine. I understand everybody else's motivation except his and Diavolo's, but we'll get to that. Also, Giorno has a stand called Garden Experience, which gives inanimate objects life by transforming them into animals or plants, like making a brick turn into a tree. Unfortunately, he could still not save Jotoro's personality. Now, in order to keep things simple, I'm gonna omit some details and dumb some stuff down, so bear with me. Giorno works for a sub-boss of the Mafia whose name is Bucciarati, and his stand Sticky Fingers, with his ability of making zippers. Also in the organization, we have Mista and his stand Sex Pistols, which consists of 6 sentient bullets. Narancia with his 68 IQ, who uses a toy plane. Abacchio, the piss taker, and his stand Moody Bruise, with the ability of a VHS tape. And Fugo, the Engie boy, who uses a poison stand a grand total of 1 times, and then... Also, I apologize for calling part 3 gay, because if part 3 was gay, then this part is downright homosexual. And don't even get me started on the ending song. Now, part 5 is split into 2 parts. In the first half, the boys have to protect the boss's daughter from getting yoinked by people who have mad beef with the boss for very justifiable reasons. And each of them is named after an Italian food. Because, I don't know, man, something in Akira Toriyama. And the stands this time are way more abstract, like growing old, lying, shrinking. But we also have some weirdo stands as well, like a fishing rod and a shark that comes out of soup to bite your face. Anyway, the boys fight all these stand users to protect the daughter of the boss, only for the boss to turn around and try to slime her out himself, cause screw them kids. And in the process of protecting Trish, Bucciarati dies. But he survives for roughly around 2 days due to Giorno's BS stand. Now at this point, we get properly introduced to the boss, Diavolo, who is certifiably crazy because nothing he does ever makes any sort of sense. He in fact has a split personality sharing one body. And he goes to absurd lengths to keep his anonymity, like booming his entire criminal organization, slamming out his daughter, and betraying literally everyone. Now, why would he do all this, you might ask? But he's also insane, so I guess I'm not supposed to know. And his stand is just as weird and confusing as he is. King Crimson has 2 abilities. First, Future Sight for roughly around 10 seconds, and the second is basically a 10-second time skip, or time erasure, to be more specific, for everybody except himself, because he can move in the skip time. It's easier for you to watch than for me to explain what the hell he's doing. Basically, Araki wanted his villain to have time powers for the third time in a row. Regardless, the boys make it to Rome where they meet up with Pornorefu. And look at how they massacred my boy. It's so sad. I'm telling you, Araki hates the Stardust Crusaders. Anyway, Diavolo shows up and massacres like half the group, and Bucciarati dies again. But Giorno stabs his stand with a magic alien arrow and evolves his stand again into Golden Experience Requiem. And I'm not even going to try to explain what the hell it does, but basically Giorno sends Diavolo to hell, so he experiences the Groundhog Day forever. Then Giorno takes over the Mafia, even though he's like 15, and presumably stops the drug trade, because that was his whole entire motivation, I guess. So, like I said before, this is a filler season, because the characters are either dead or don't show up again. The fact that Giorno is Diego's son never comes up again. The villain is insane, and his plans don't make any sense. Giorno is a very one-note and boring protagonist, and I absolutely hate this stupid-ass looking art style. Why does everybody look like a twink? Does Italy not have any protein? This has got to be the biggest downgrade. This has got to be the biggest downgrade in muscle mass since Dragon Ball Super. But for all my bitching and complaining, the side characters carried this season, and as always, the memes are top tier.